We are going over Blackberry Blossom today for banjo. So this is an arrangement that is in the melodic style on TuneFox's website, and you can see the tab here. You can go to our blog after this lesson. You can see the video. I'm also recording video, and I don't know how to sync it up at the same time just yet, but that is a work in progress. So hopefully we'll have that soon so you can see me actually teaching the lesson in person, on your screen, and then you can also see the tab. So for now, we're just going to look at the tab so I can show you how to interact with TuneFox's unique tools so you can practice better. And the first thing I like to do when I get to a tab, I was practicing it very slow, but the first thing I like to do is make sure the BPM is set right, and I like to hear the song. So I'm just going to go all the way to the beginning. I'm going to push the play button. Okay, so it's a pretty straightforward version of Blackberry Blossom. If you already know this version of Blackberry Blossom or something similar to that, all good. This video still might be able to help you learn how to practice this stuff so you can get it up to speed faster. And you can also, if you're kind of tired of the same old licks, you can go into the measures and switch out and see different versions of this measure. For example, so that's a pretty crunchy, jazzy version of that third measure in Blackberry Blossom. But we're going to switch it to the original measure because we're just going to go over quickly how to learn this song and then how to practice it. So first thing we want to do is look at the kickoff measure. This is the intro. You can see it says intro up here. And so we're just going to read through it. And it's a 4/5 slide on the 4th string. You can see that there. And that little line, that diagonal line, means a slide. And you can also isolate this measure by clicking on it if you want to practice that. And I would recommend bringing the tempo down to, like, I don't know, 45 or even 35. So you can get it really slow. Sorry, one sec. Here we go. And then you can play along with it. And try to get that timing right. So it's kind of a quick slide there. Okay, so practice that, loop that measure as much as you need to get that down. And then what I like to do is go to the next measure. So I'll deselect that and I'll select this next measure. And I'll kind of analyze it 4 notes at a time just to look and see where my positions are going to be on the banjo neck. So I'm looking at that first the first 4 notes. You can also hear that. And I want that a little slower just so I can digest it. Cool. And so if you have a question about a note, you can click on it and TuneFox will play the note to you. Cool. So we got that position. That's a very standard G scale melodic position. Now let's look at the next one. Okay, so I would use left hand, I would use your middle finger and your ring finger. And you'll be able to see this in the video. I'm using my middle finger on the 2nd string and then my ring finger for that note right there. And then I'm shifting my fingers back. I'm just sliding my middle finger back to this note. So I can get that in position, that index finger in position for this note. Cool. And so make sure when you're learning this that you're looking at the right hand fingerings too. This note right here is a thumb. So I like to drop my thumb down. I wrote this tab, so this is my arrangement of Blackberry Blossom. I like to drop my thumb down to the second string to kind of, rhythmically it helps me more, and I think it drives the song a little bit better when you drop your thumb for melodic stuff. But index would obviously work as well if you didn't want to do that. Okay, so now let's go into like how do you practice this measure after you've learned it. So I can play this measure. If we go to the beginning, I can play it at 35 beats per minute. And I can loop it. But now I feel like I don't need to hear the banjo anymore. So I'm going to take the banjo out, apply changes, and I'm going to play it again. So now I'm relying on the backing tracks to tell me where I am in the song. And I'm trying not to look at the tab either. That's another thing that you want to start to try to do when you're learning a song like this. And it's okay to take it one measure at a time. It's actually preferable to take it one measure at a time so you can get it in bite-sized chunks and not overwhelm yourself with so many notes, because there's a lot of notes in this piece if you look at it, you listen to it. So I'm going to put the banjo back, and I am going to go into my tools. I want to start practicing speeding this measure up. And I'm going to do it by a small increment. So 2 beats per minute it's going to loop, and each time it loops around, it's going to speed up by 2 beats per minute. And this is a great way to practice speed, technique, and kind of learn how to play it faster without even really knowing it until you get to a really fast speed. So I'm going to play it again. So repetition is key here. You can see it sped up to 47 beats per minute. So it's 12 beats faster than where we started, which is awesome. And if you want it harder than that, you can go 5 or 8 beats. So that would be... challenging because it's jumping up quite a bit. 8 beats per minute is actually a lot. So we are going to, hey Megan, hey Justin, thanks for commenting. Good to see y'all on here. So we are going to go over now the memory train function, and this one will help you get off of the tab. So if you're looking at the tab, it's so hard to look away from the tab because it's right there, and I have lots of students that say that, like, if I have the tab in front of me, I can't not look at it. So what we're going to do now is turn off speed up, turn on memory train, and I'm going to show you what memory train does. Each time, I'm going to slow it down a little bit. Each time that the measure loops, it's going to make notes disappear. Let's reset it so it doesn't do it automatically. Okay. So this time around, makes the notes disappear. You can still see where they are on the string, so you have that to help you, but you don't actually see the numbers on the frets. And we're working on some more advanced versions of this where you're actually not going to see any notes on the tab. So it'll really force you to use your ears and play what the notes are on the neck without actually looking at the tab. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off, go down to Tools, Memory Train, and then I'm going to apply changes. Okay, so that is how you practice a measure. And if you want to know the chords, you can click the chords up here and see a couple different positions of where you can play these chords. But once you do that with one measure, what you want to do is do the same thing with the next measure. You want to learn it, so play it, bring it down to like 35 beats per minute, 36. Go through. Yeah, I'm trying to act like I'm stumbling through this, but I'm actually like, I wrote this tab, so I'm very comfortable with it. So take it 4 notes at a time and then go to the next 4 notes, go to the next 4 notes. And there's another tool in here called Hide Notes, and you can set it on a low kind of beginner setting. And what that will do is that will hide some of the notes on the tab. You can still see what string they're on, but you'll have to click on the note to actually find it. So you can search for that note. I know it's on the 3rd string, so I can click on the note and try to find it, find where it is on the 3rd string. And then this, it sounds like the same note. So once I know that note, then I can go to that one. And then we have this one that's, okay, so that's on the 1st string. Where is that? I know it's higher than that note. I know it's higher than that note. Okay, so found that. Let's test it. Okay, so I know that this note's on the 5th fret, this note's on the 5th fret, and this one's on the 7th fret. And you can make that more difficult. You know, so there's more notes hidden, and you can hide all of the notes if you want. And we're working on an extreme mode where you can actually make all of the notes, even where they're located on the string, just all of them gone. So you have to like really learn this by ear, like no help at all. We'll give you some hints. You know, there's going to be a feature that will give you some hints, but it's really going to challenge you to train your ears when you're learning a piece of music, which is awesome. Okay, so I'll turn that off and apply changes. Okay, so say you've learned this measure. Measure 3 is down. You've got it. You've practiced it with the speed up function, and you've got it up to 50 beats per minute. So now what you want to do before moving on to the next measure, I would recommend that you go back and you try to piece these 2 measures together. So this is what I call chunking. You're taking one chunk of it and you're practicing that, getting that down, and then moving on to another chunk, playing that, practicing that, and then you want to work on the transition, you know, this space right here and this space right here between those 2 measures, and get those so they're seamless. And so you can play them together in time. In time is really important. And then you'll move on to the next piece. Then you move on to the next piece. And so you can click on these measures and you can see how they're highlighted. And that means that you'll be able to loop this whole section. You'll be able to loop this entire section. And I also want you to notice, if you hear similarities in the melody, kind of make a mental note of those. I can look right here. I can see measure 2 and measure 4 are exactly the same. So that is a really helpful thing, because you know, you can just say that to yourself when you're memorizing a piece. Okay, so I played this phrase, this measure, I played this chunk, and then I played this chunk, which is the same as the first one. So that's easy. I don't have to relearn that. I can move on to the next measure. And then it's going to be a faster kind of process of memorization because you actually know what's going on with the melody of the song. Okay, so let's just keep listening back. You can practice this on your own. The blog post will have this tab for free on there, and it will also have this video of me walking through it and showing you the different tools. So here, let's listen to the next couple measures. Oh, let's listen to these 2. Cool. Since we know this measure, measure 4 already, let's go to measure 5. I'm just going to go through it real quick, 4 notes at a time. So that's over a C chord, and then this phrase is a little funky because it's an inside roll. So you're starting with your index finger there on the second string, and then you're doing thumb, index, middle there. So you're actually going to bring your middle finger inside the first string, and you're playing the second string. And then there's a little single string thing here. So you're going thumb, index, and then thumb, third string pinch. Cool. And so once you learn that first full A section, practice that a bunch. I would say play it 10 times through without messing up at a specific tempo, and then you know that you're ready to go into the B section. You want to retain as much as you can while you're practicing the A section, so you're prepared to play the whole song at the end of learning the entire song. And you don't have to go back and rework things in the A section after you've done the B section. I would even recommend that you would sleep on it, so learn the A section, practice it a ton, sleep on it, take a nap, go to bed, and then wake up next morning and then practice the B section. And then you can piece it all together there. Sleep helps you retain what you've been working on. So we're going to go over the B section real quick. Let's just listen to it. A little faster. Okay, and it's just going to keep looping it and looping it and looping it until we tell it to stop. So this is the same thing as the A section. I would chunk the first measure, take it, I'll do that and loop that as much as I can with a slow speed. Cool. Now I want to start speeding this up by 5 beats per minute, so we're just going to do that real quick. Starts to actually sound like the song once you get it faster. Okay, so I feel good about that. Make sure that when you're learning it, you drop your thumb down to that B note. That's what I would do at least. Drop my thumb down to that B note for right before you do this descending roll. Okay, so we got that, and now we get to kind of like the more difficult part of the B section, and that's just because you have this ascending B7th lick right here. So I'm just going to look at that real quick. I'm just going to look starting at this note. Just kind of look at what transitions I need to do. Sorry. So for this note right here, I'm using my pinky on that note. So I can use my index finger here. Like that. And there's these 2 pickup notes to this phrase. That's what I'm calling them, pickup notes. But that's on the 5th fret 2nd string and the 4th fret 1st string, as you can see. And so what I do, these two positions are really popular positions in the key of G and using G scales, E minor scales. And I'm using the same position for these two, for 5 and 4, as I am for 10 and 9. So my middle finger is being placed on the 5th fret, and my index finger is being placed on the 4th fret. And then I'm just sliding that position up. I'm using this 5th string as a transition note, and I'm sliding that position up to the 10th fret and the 9th fret. So I'm literally not taking my hand off the neck. I'm just sliding that position up. So that's a little trick that you can use when you're working on this. So let's practice this full measure. I'm going to slow it down even more. Yeah, and so I guess the speed up function is still on, so I was unknowingly going faster. Or forced to go faster here. So practice that one, practice the first one, and then you select both, and then you can play them together and really work on the transition between the two measures. Okay. All right, so now we are on to the third measure of the B section, and the third measure of the B section is the same as the first. So there's not anything that we need to do here. You could play these three together to actually practice it. So let's just start from there. Feel good about all of that, and so I am going to deselect all of these measures and select the very last one and take a look at it. And so it looks a little similar to the last one of the A section, but I'm just going to go through it real quick. Drop your thumb down for that note. Whoops. Just down the scale. Okay, so let's hear it real quick. Crazy how taking out the banjo, how much that changes the way that you hear the music, the way that you play the music. And it's a really great thing to take out of the mix, so you're not relying on it anymore. It's the same with the metronome or the backing tracks. It's good to do different things in your practice that will stretch you in different ways. So taking out the band and just playing with the metronome. So you can see where the cursor is, but it doesn't really matter. If you can feel that pulse, and that's really slow, 32. The cursor is actually helping me keep the time because it's subdividing it for me. And putting the band back in. Practice it like that, and then like I keep saying, you're just gonna take the full B section, select all of the measures, and practice that. I would say at 45 is a great starting tempo, or even slower than that, like 32 I was just playing at, and that felt like it would be a good tempo to practice piecing it all together at. And once you finish the B section, then I would deselect all of these, go back to the top by clicking this button, and then play along. Oh, I still have my banjo muted. Let's turn that up a little bit. That is awesome. One more thing before I let you guys go. If you want to do something a little bit more advanced, or if you feel really good about this arrangement and you want to learn some different ways to play Blackberry Blossom, you can click Shuffle Licks down here, and you can just kind of see the licks shuffle. And you can also click right here and change through the different licks that you can see on the measure. So you can see up here for the measures that have switchable licks, you can click on those and you can change them. So let's just do melodic number 2 for that. Scruggs number 1 is cool. And then melodic number 1, sure. So this is cool because you can actually select the measures and hear it. So let's... Let me turn the banjo up for you so you can actually hear it. So cool. So that's a cool sounding measure. That's a different Scruggs lick that you can play in that measure, and then you can play a jazz lick, which this is one of my favorites. So listen to this one. And fast, it sounds really cool. So I want to just highlight this D7th lick right here. What we're doing there is making a D7th flat 9. So this E flat is acting as the flat 9. So that's why it sounds so dissonant and crunchy, is because we're using a flat 9 note, that E flat right there on the 8th fret. And you can just keep going. So that's a little bit different. A little different, not too difficult of a melodic lick right there. And now we'll deselect this. And let's listen to Scruggs number 1. Cool, so that's a standard B7th over a forward backwards roll. Let's see what Scruggs number 2 sounds like. So that's a little bit more syncopated, a little bit funkier. You're using a descending chromatic line on the 3rd string. So you can see that 4th fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret. It's a little funky fingering wise, but it's a cool lick played fast. And then we've got melodic number 1 right here. So it kind of blends in a Scruggs lick at the end. Like that. And let's see the other one. Oh, it's the same. Cool. So I love that there's interchangeable licks in these songs. Melodic number 2 up here at the 5th measure is the same as melodic number 2 here at the 9th measure. So you can learn that there's a lot of vocabulary that you can use, you know, all around this song that's the same. And you can use it for other songs too. Alrighty, so thanks for tuning in to this Facebook Live. And if you have any suggestions for tunes that you want to learn, that you want me to post on the blog, or you want me to go over in TuneFox, just post it in the comments here. Head over to our blog and check it out. And if you're not a TuneFox subscriber yet, check it out. Sign up for a 7-day trial and let us know if you have any questions. Thank y'all, and see ya.